Welcome to the Elevate Media Podcast with your host, Chris Anderson. In this show, Chris and his guests will share their knowledge and experience on how to go from zero to successful entrepreneur. They have built their businesses from scratch and are now ready to give back to those who are just starting. Let's get ready to learn, grow, and elevate our businesses. And now, your host, Chris Anderson.
Welcome back to another recording of the Elevate Media Podcast. I'm Chris Anderson, your host. Today, we're going to be getting into a conversation that I enjoy talking about. So we brought in a guest who's going to be able to talk to it as well. And that's video and how important it is as we're building a brand of business online, especially at the time and day we're in now with AI, with everyone creating content. So we're going to be diving into that, how to message it better. So we're bringing on Atiba de Souza. He's an international keynote speaker, a super connector, messaging coach, and the video content Superman. So Atiba, welcome to the Elevate Media Podcast today, man.
Chris, thank you for having me, buddy. I'm excited to be here. Love chatting with somebody who loves video like I love video.
Yeah, absolutely. No, excited for it. So yeah, let's dive right into it, man. Video has been taking off, obviously, over the past couple of years. And now we've got AI shifting into the mix. Where do you see video at today? And how it's being used, and how do you see it changing in the next maybe 5 years?
Yeah, absolutely. So number one, it's become harder to connect with your ideal customer in a meaningful way.
Mm-hmm.
Let's call it spade a spade, right? I mean, you said it, AI. We're like, how many deep fakes are there now of different things, right? You think, oh my gosh, yeah. And yes, that's going to get more and more and more. But here's the deal. The deal there, Chris, is people right now can't tell the difference between the deep fake and the real thing. Right. And, it's kind of like when anything is new and novel, but eventually we as humans, we're going to figure it out. Mm-hmm. And we're going to start to tell, remember when we got online and ads were like, oh, that's cool. And now everybody's like, that's an ad, just skip over it.
Right.
Right. We're going to get there. But here's the deal. Even within all of that, you've got to hunker down right now and realize that the video revolution is happening. Mm-hmm. And you can either get on or get left behind.
Yep.
Okay. And it's one of the most interesting times in business. And it hasn't existed this way in terms of marketing since the early 2000s.
Right.
Back in the early 2000s, there were these things called websites and the internet.
Yep.
Right. And SEO. And that was new. And people who did it got this massive advantage.
Yep.
Okay. And then everyone else caught up over time.
Yeah.
Right now, we're in that place again with video.
Yeah.
Right. It's a whole new medium.
Yeah. And it's, because I started in 2019 with my podcast. I started straight video from then, and it's grown. In 2020, we were doing, video podcast launches. We were doing video podcast edits, and now we've grown into, video production agency, where we, create the commercials, the brand story videos, promos, all that. And, I see it as like a crucial piece, again, like you mentioned, is to build that relationship, because online, people are, and I think we're going to get back to in-person things, but I still think social media, to be able to build that relationship, is through video. And whether that be them seeing, whoever's on camera, the workforce, or, the CEO, the owner of the company, and be able to have that, like, oh, they're a real person. Like, okay, this is how they talk. This is how their mannerisms are. Like, I like how they teach. And so if you're a coach or consultant, like, that's going to give you a boost, because people are going to like be able to say, yeah, I resonate with that. I like how they do it and approach it on camera. Yeah. So I know I'm going to get the benefit of working with them. On the flip side too, live streaming, I think, and I'd love to hear your take on live streaming video, I think is going to take off even more to the same regard. Like, people are going to keep seeing video, but having the unedited interactive ability to, maybe see us chatting live. We've done it a couple times on the show. I think that's going to be a huge piece going forward too. That especially small and medium-sized businesses can really, utilize to have better messaging, have better relationship, and it's just going to continue to expand.
Yeah. Yeah. And to that point, there's actually a technical term for this. The technical term is parasocial relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's what we're doing here is we're creating what are called parasocial relationships. What that is, and let me give you an example, and I'm going to use myself as an example here. Earlier this year, in January of this year, I went to an event, first event that I was going to for the year, and I was there, and I was there talking with some of the people who are legends at the event, right? Like the big names, right? Trying to get some time. And as I'm standing there, actually, we were just taking a photo. There's somebody waiting in the wings, and she comes up to me and she says, "Oh my gosh, it's you." And I'm looking at this lady and I'm just like, I'm pretty sure we've never met before. Right. But she's like, "I follow everything that you do. You did this, you did." And she's telling me all this stuff that we've done on social media over time, all these videos of mine that she's watched. "I love how you talk about this. I love it." Okay. Yeah. Because she's built a relationship with me from my content that I've created. Exactly. So whether that's live stream and or even recorded, right? The live stream eventually will get to be a place where we can combat the bots and AI and to prove that it is actually us. Right. But the purpose behind all of that is building these parasocial relationships where people are growing and engendering trust in you based on the connection that they're feeling with you that they can't get out of just written. They can't get out of a static picture. Heck, you can't even get it just in audio.
Right. Yeah. And I think that it's just, and I see more and more trying to get to it. And I also see like the ability and the cost of entry, if you will, is super low, because I think even now on native platforms, social media platforms, the native phone videos, although from my perspective is a little bit like, because of the production level and stuff, but that's an easy in. People can just start with their phone, create content, and it's still like that has a place. Absolutely. And I tell people, like, you don't have to have high produced videos like what we create. Just start with your phone, build those connections. People are going to see how you are as a real person, and then come to us when it's time for those specific, videos that have a purpose, like the flagship video, things like that. But like, I think that the entry level is super simple based on just that, and having it, in the palm of our hands, where you can just go out, and the camera, I mean, for what it's worth, is pretty decent if you think about lighting, where you're at, and audio and things like that, which is a whole nother topic. But yeah, it's just a simple entry point to start.
Yeah, absolutely. I talk a lot about the what I call the news anchor effect. Okay. And most of us don't create video. We don't create content because of the news anchor effect, which is we at some point in our lives watch the news. Yeah. And anchors always seem what? Perfect.
Yeah. Put together. Yep.
Everything is always perfect. Matter of fact, heck, not even just the news anchors, the the on location reporters. Like I've seen on location reporters in the middle of a hurricane who weren't wet.
Right.
Right. And you're just like, I can't do that. Yeah. And that creates the barrier in your mind about why you can't create video when, as you said, Chris, it's right here in the palm of your hand.
Yeah.
Right. And it isn't about perfection. People aren't looking about perfection. Yes. Are there some things that you want to have crisp and polished? Yes. But not everything, because people want to connect with the real you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Cause that's how I kind of explain to people, like there's levels to it. Like your phone or, doing it on your own is that entry level connection. Like the realest you can be, really, the most raw basically you can do. And then you just post it. And then the next level would be, even doing a little bit of editing on those through different phone apps. And then after that, maybe you get a regular camera and you're trying to play around with it. And you seek help on how to set up lighting and things like that, sound to make it look better. And then you're like, okay, we don't have the means to produce, a Netflix possible video. Now it's time to invest in that, whether it be for training courses, whether it be for a consistent show like a podcast, whether it be, for a commercial. That's when then you can outsource or bring in someone like, our agency that can do that. but like it's stages, like they would come to you, like if they need the messaging first before they got to that level. So they're not investing in a video production that doesn't hit with their audience, right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Because at the end of the day, that's what it all comes down to.
Yeah.
This is about communication, right? When we talk about marketing, all we're talking about is communication, one human to another. And we conflate it to mean a whole lot of different things. We confuse it to mean a whole lot of different things. We get all twisted about what marketing is or isn't, and it's communication.
Yeah. Yeah. So how do businesses and brands work on that communication? The messaging part of, their brand, their videos, if they're doing it on their own.
Yeah. The number one thing is you must be obsessed with your customer. Okay. And here's what I mean by that. You need to know what their poop smells like. Like you need to be that obsessed. Okay. Y'all, seriously. No, jokes aside. Like we often think of our own product and service from our own angle and why it's great and so on and so forth. But we don't often think truly about what's going on with our customer. Not every customer, our ideal customer. What's really their motivators? What really are their pain points? What really is causing them issue, and understanding that and how it relates to the rest of their life. Okay? Because you think you're doing this one thing. Let's take an accountant. You think you're doing taxes, right? And yeah, sure, you did their taxes, but what you actually did was save a marriage. I'm making this up, obviously. So maybe this is the person who was always bad at the finances and the accounting and all of this stuff. And the wife is fed up and it's just like, we've been through too much and I need you to get this together. And they call you to do the taxes and say, I need my taxes done.
Yep.
And you go do their taxes, but what you're really doing is saving their marriage. But if you don't know that, if you don't know that those are the types of problems that you're potentially solving for your ideal customer, you can't actually message to them correctly.
Yeah.
Okay. So we talk a lot about, inside of understanding your ideal customer and understanding their pain points, there are three types of pains. Okay. There's the external, internal, and philosophical. Okay. People talk about the external, but nobody buys anything because of their external problem.
Right.
Okay. They don't.
Right.
They buy things either because of what's internally going on that they're not willing to say, or philosophically what's going to be right or wrong with the world if this doesn't get fixed.
Yeah.
That's why they buy. And if you don't know that stuff, you can't talk to them.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think getting to those points to understanding is crucial. So how do you guide people, or what would your guidance be on, digging into those internal and physiological or psychological type pains that they're feeling?
Yeah. So it all starts with your ideal customer profile and building your ideal customer profile. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you. Okay. You probably heard that before.
Right.
You may have even heard it called an avatar before. Some other term before. And you probably said, oh yeah, I did that. Right. You did that when? Okay. And it was a what? Okay. So here's what I'm not saying. I'm not saying you did it once and you stick it on a shelf. No, this is a living, breathing document. You're in a relationship with your ideal customer. Okay. And in that relationship, just like a marriage relationship where you're getting to know this person every day better and better and better, you're learning stuff about them all the time. Dude, I've been married for 17 years. I'm still learning stuff about my wife.
Yep.
Okay. And it's the same way with your ideal customer. And as you learn new things, you learn and understand their motivations better, and you can message to them even better. So you can't create it once, stick it on a shelf and say, oh, we did it. And we call her Sally, right?
Yeah.
Who cares? Okay. So it's a living, breathing document. Then number two, oh yes, that cute little one pager. We just did one for an orthopedic clinic in Vegas yesterday. 22 pages.
That's awesome.
22 pages. Okay. Yeah. You got to know what their poop smells like. All right. So I do have something which I can give you at the end, or I can say it now if you like, that I've been doing this since 2004, 2005. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
Right. Of creating these, and we've created a template of all of the sections that you need to consider. And I give that away to everybody for free. So if you're listening to this, you can get that for free.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll definitely have the link to that in the show notes at the end. And thank you for sharing that and being open to do that. It's awesome. And so with that, so as we're building out this, living, breathing document of who our ideal client is, what are some really big no-nos that you see a lot of people do when they're trying to do that? Obviously, like you said there, they do it, they put it on a shelf and they leave it. That's one, obviously not continuing to grow with the relationship. Are there any other big ones that you're like, oh, don't do that, or you shouldn't do that you see a lot of people do?
Yeah. Think to themselves.
Okay.
That's the biggest one.
Yeah.
Okay. They think to themselves and they think they understand and they think they know.
Yeah.
And you don't.
Right.
You just don't. Unless you go and actually are talking to your ideal customer. Even if you sat down and you went through the document, you built the whole thing, right? You've then got to take it to real people and say, hey, does this match you?
Gotcha. Yeah.
Right. Where did I go wrong? What did I miss? What do I need to add? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. What did I get right? Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So that customer interview process piece is one that most people are unwilling to do, afraid to do. And then they just said, oh, I know, this is the biggest. Oh, I know my customer.
Sure.
You barely know yourself.
Right.
Right. Stop lying to yourself. You don't know your customer.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a big thing. Like, this the whole, like, if I build this, they'll come kind of thing. When you could be building the complete wrong thing, or you could be missing the most important pieces that they truly need. It's funny you say it, like, and I love how you mentioned, like, it's a living, breathing document. Cause like, as we started, our clients needed one thing and then we expanded, as we saw the need change. And now, like, we're seeing a new need within our clients. So we're creating all this content, social media content, video, promo videos, brand story videos, podcast videos. But then we started seeing, like, if maybe 50% don't post it. Okay, so I was like, okay, that's interesting. Like, we like when you post it. So I'd go back and be like, hey, just curious. I've seen you haven't posted any of this stuff. Is everything okay? Like, is there something we need to fix to make you want to post it? Like, oh no, it was great. We loved it. We just haven't had time to post it, or we don't know how to post it. And I'm like, right. Oh, right. Okay. And we keep seeing that. So now it's like, okay, yes. how can we adapt to that need? And so we're building out, kind of retainer packages where it's like, hey, we'll do this. We can record it for X amount. And then, for a very low amount per month, we'll just break it down for you. So you don't have to do any of that if we're going to do it on your own. And then we'll also just post it and schedule it out for you. So you're having content come out more consistently and you don't have to worry about it because the need keeps coming up. And so we're adapting in that regard. And again, it's just, that wasn't there when we first started. And now it's starting to be more of an issue with who we're working at as far as business owners. So yeah, it's an interesting thing to think about that is changing.
It is. And, something else that I say a lot is every solution creates a new problem.
Yep.
Right. Now that works in both ways. Mm-hmm. So that means there was a solution that happened before they needed you that created a need for you.
Right.
And there's a problem that you create that then points to the next solution that they need that may not be you. Right. Yeah. And listen, even in understanding and messaging and all of that helps. So like for me, a lot of my messaging helps people before they ever even need me.
Right.
So I'm actually going to help you solve the problem you have before you need me.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's something like we have to get used to is, almost good. You hear add the value first, your fee, jab, whatever, however many jabs, then punch kind of thing.
Yeah.
And just add that value, solve problems until you get to the bigger one that then they really do need you. Like for us, it's like, hey, how can we help you have a better setup? How can we help you use your phone better with video? How can we, all those things that, we don't necessarily do because they can do it on their own. We want to assist them, help them improve until they're ready for us. And then hopefully that we, be able to help them with what we do. But, that's kind of like figuring that out. is a critical part. It's sometimes hard for people because they think, well, if I give all this stuff for free, then no one will buy from me, kind of thing, because they've solved all the problems, kind of, but not always the case.
So there are a couple of things there.
Yeah.
Okay. Number one, not everyone's going to buy from you anyway.
Right. Right. Yeah. Dang
right.
it.
There's a population out there that just wants to DIY it.
Yep.
And guess what? They'll go and learn from you. They'll DIY it and they'll become your biggest champions.
Yeah.
So don't look at it as a bad thing. Look at it as a good thing. You can get testimonials from them and they never even paid you.
Right. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Right. So that's on one side. On the other side is you want to give them information. You want them to go try because you want them to fail. Because in that also proves your worth.
Yep.
Okay. Now, there's a bigger overarching topic here that a lot of business owners, especially when you're new, you don't know and don't understand. And it's one that you need to really dive into as well, which is offer strategy. Okay. There is an art to creating an offer. Please note I didn't say a price. Price is only part of the offer.
Right.
Okay. There's an art to crafting an offer. And then learning that art helps you with your messaging, helps you understand what to give away for free, helps you understand what their next problems are, helps you understand how to position yourself so that they will love you.
Yep.
Okay. And so let me just rephrase, you haven't studied offer strategy.
Right.
Okay. And I say that because 99.999% of business owners haven't.
Right.
And truly understand, there's an equation to figuring out your offer, an actual mathematical formulaic equation. Okay. And it will tell you how good your offer is.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's the place that we need to start. And the best way to do that is go read Alex Hormozi's book, $100 Million Offers.
Yep. I was thinking the same thing when you were talking about it.
Okay. That's where you start.
Yep.
He gives the absolute best blueprint on how to structure an offer and that formula.
Yep. Absolutely.
Okay? And by the way, when you think you understood what he said, you don't.
Yes. Yeah. I know. I went a couple of times. Yep.
Okay?
That's true.
I read that book 8 times.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm not trying to say that because I'm smart or anything.
Right. No, I get it.
Okay. Digest it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think he actually just came out with a workbook for that too, I think.
Did he?
I'm pretty sure I just purchased the workbook for the $100 million offer. Yeah. Like $25 or something like that on Amazon.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm excited to dive into that again and go through it with the workbook and test that out for sure. Yeah. I mean, you're right. I mean, there's a formula to it, and it's, most people haven't dove into that at all. They just think, I'm going to do this and solve this, but like, there's so many pieces.
Exactly.
Like you said, I have like, I want to know that a couple of times, and I have to go through it again and again to really hone it in. Cause we're always like, Elevate started in 2021 and we've grown and, super thankful for that. But like, we still improve every day, and our offer can change just a little bit until we get it like where it's pretty consistently running, and, makes sense for everybody. Cause there's still things you have to tweak, and it can be the same for any kind of corporation or business so. Yeah. I mean, you're spot on that with the offer, having to really dive into it.
Yeah. Super critical.
So with that too, like how important is it on, like, kind of get into the super detailed thing, but like the words we use, does the actual vernacular that we use matter? Cause I've heard, make it like so easy a 5th grader could read it or understand it. Is that still true from your perspective? So
absolutely. You want to write in a language that people can understand, right? But you got to, again, being obsessed with your audience.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me give you an example. I have 3 children.
Okay.
In 5th grade, my eldest daughter couldn't put down a book. In 5th grade, my eldest son, or my middle son,
he said,
my second child, that's what I wanted to say. My second child, my son, right? He couldn't sit in a classroom, but he loved to be up talking in front of the classroom.
Okay.
And wanted to be on the sport field.
Nice.
Okay. In 5th grade, my youngest daughter was the class counselor. Okay.
Yep.
You can't talk to all 3 5th graders the same.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yes, you want to at a 5th grade level, but you still got to be obsessed with your audience and know which freaking 5th graders am I talking to today.
Yeah, that's
right?
true.
Like,
so true. Yeah, because like if you're talking to like a skilled trades business versus consulting, a business consulting firm, the words you use and how you present it is going to be a lot different.
Yes, absolutely, without question.
Yeah,
without question. Right? If you came to me and talked to me about Grey's Anatomy stuff, like that was all in your copy and you're making references, I've never watched an episode.
Right.
Right? So all lost on me.
Right.
Okay.
No.
But if you want to bring up Suits, I'm all in.
All right. Okay. So how important is it to get like that? I know you said, and I'm going to guess very important because you said you got to know what their poop smells like. But like, because I've heard both sides of the camp, like you need to get to know like them at a detailed layer, like, we help, I don't know if you're helping dad, we help fathers who love Marvel and love go. Like, do you have to get in that detailed of it?
As you go, yes.
Okay.
The better that you can identify who you're talking to, because again, if Marvel is really important to them and you're only talking about DC characters,
right,
you're pissing some people off.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Now, is it important to know that they stub their toenail every time they walk? Probably not. if you're selling them, a computer system, probably not. Right. So yes, there are limits.
Sure.
Okay. But you want to, they have to be able to, and this is when you know you've got it right. Okay. When your customers are saying, how did you know I was thinking about that? Or it feels like you're in my mind. When you're getting those responses, you hit it. Yep. Until then, keep working.
Keep working for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Because I think, what do you think stops people from really diving into that and figuring that out? Is there some
work? It's work. and the thought of creating content is daunting enough. Yeah. In most people's minds. It isn't actually daunting, but most people have created this aura around it for various reasons. And so now you want me to do what? You want me to stop and think and work? Yeah. But then I'm not getting anything done. And here's the thing. When we create content, every piece of content that you create has to be linked back to your ideal customer profile. Okay? To the point where you have to be able to justify it. Yeah. If you can't justify why this worked as something we created based on something that we have in the ideal customer profile, we shouldn't have created it. Right. And that's the issue. Because when you don't want to do it, then you say, okay, I'm just going to go out, I'm going to start creating content, and then it doesn't work. Right. Right. And your content falls flat. Yeah. Then you start to say, well, this whole marketing thing is a sham. It doesn't work. It's like, no, you didn't do the work.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, what is it? You try to help everyone, you help no one, or you try to speak to everyone, you speak to no one kind of thing.
Facts.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's awesome. Well, Atiba, this has been, a fantastic conversation. I think it really will guide those who are listening in to really reconsider, one, their offer and their messaging and dive in even more to that. And so, I know you mentioned earlier that you had that link. If people want to continue to learn from you, maybe get that template, get your help or anything of that nature, where's the best way that they can do that?
Yeah. So that template that we talked about for building your ideal customer profile, and y'all, like I said, we've been putting this together for 20 years. So you got 20 years of my work of trial and error here. Okay. It's at contentcoach.social. Okay. Contentcoach.social. You go there, you can download it for free.
Awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
And would that take them to connect with you on social media as well?
Yeah. So to connect with me, the best thing to do is to go to meetatiba.com. That's meet, A-T-I, B as in boy, A.com. That'll take you directly to my LinkedIn. When you get to my LinkedIn, don't hit the follow button. Hit the connect button. Go to more, hit the connect button. And then tell me you saw me on Chris's show, man. Let's talk one-on-one, person to person, human to human. Believe me, it won't be AI. It'll be me.
Yeah. Yep. That's all I tell people. I still answer my DMs myself. So send me a message. But yeah, everyone, make sure you connect with Atiba, get that template, start diving in more to his work there, his years of experience. And I'll also link Hormozi's book and workbook in the show notes as well. So you can take Atiba's template, take the offers, and really start building out your messaging and offer. And again, Atiba, thanks so much for being on the show today.
Chris, thank you for having me, buddy. Appreciate you.
Thank you for listening to the Elevate Media Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. See you in the next episode.